Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and good morning, good afternoon to all. This is the second session of the career guidance series in the month of April by the New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group. And today we have the marketing champion and the Salesforce MVP, Shivu Abram sir. And this session is about how to start your career in ecosystem and like what can you do in case you are looking for a change from a non-Salesforce background to the Salesforce, and if you are a fresher and looking to start your career in Salesforce. Once again, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Shibu sir for coming with us and sharing their experience. So yeah, my name is Harshit and I am the host for today's session. I am 3x CRM certified and currently a Salesforce trainee at UST. I am a volunteer at New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group, and these are the social media handles in on which you can connect with me, and I will be more than happy to help each of you if in case I am able to help you out. And I am keen to mentor if someone is looking for any help regarding Salesforce admin and stuff. So please do ping me on these social media handles. And talking more about New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group. So the revival meetup of this group was in Feb 2016. These are the social media handles, the Twitter handle, hashtag, and the website of New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group. So here you can find the details about the past session, their presentations, session recording, and the list of the coming sessions as well. So Impact Salesforce Saturday is a initiative taken by the New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group. On each Saturday of every month, we are organizing the knowledge sharing sessions. They might be technical, like in the month of April, we are trying to give career guidance series. So this helps the trailblazers in the community to get to know more about the different verticals or different product of Salesforce and how they can enrich them in the particular field. And as I mentioned, that you can find the past sessions of this New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group on the website as well as the upcoming sessions. And Talent Central is again an initiative taken by New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group, and it's a like Naukri.com or Indeed, on which the profile has been created by the job seekers, and the HR also have a right like have access to these particular profiles, and they can find a suitable candidate, and in this way they can get a job opportunity as well. And I can proudly say that I have been associated with Talent Central, and I have started my career in Salesforce with the help of Talent Central. So huge thanks to the team of Talent Central. And these are the success stories of Talent Central you can see. And in the coming future, there are many more success stories coming ahead. This is again an initiative taken by New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group. Let's implement. So they are providing the mentorship to the students. They are syncing the mentors and the mentee, and it's a practical learning platform. Like they have been given different project, different assignment by their mentors, and in case they are stuck with the stuff, the mentors are guiding them, and in this way they can get the practical knowledge about Salesforce as well. Moving ahead, Journey to Salesforce is the initiative by Salesforce developer relations team in India, and this basically provides the training to the non-Salesforce background IT IT employers, and like if they want to switch to Salesforce, they can pursue this journey. There are trail mixes, there are sessions, there are some opportunities to connect with the employers, and with the help of this Journey to Salesforce program, they can get employment in the Salesforce ecosystem as well. And these are the top contributors of New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group, and like they are the volunteers who are helping to make the event and the series successful. In the background behind the curtains, they are the one who are leading this group. So the whole New Delhi Salesforce group is thankful to them for their efforts. And these are the social media channels, and these are the platform on which you can connect with the Salesforce Developer Group of New Delhi. The first one is their website, second one is the website for the mentorship portal, and these YouTube channel is where you can find the recording of past sessions, and you can revisit them in case you want to go through some topic or some concepts. Twitter, LinkedIn, and Telegram are the platforms on which we keep the participants or keep the connections updated about the upcoming sessions and what are the new things we are planning. Also, we would like to thank Cloud Vandana and Growhoppers for the support which they are giving to us, as they are the proud sponsors of this New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group. And And thank you so much to the whole community for keeping supporting us and joining us. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Great. Thank you, Harshit. Let me try sharing. Let me know if you can hear me okay.
Yes, sir, you're audible well.
Can you see my deck?
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome, cool. Okay, let me go ahead and start. Is this okay, guys? Thank you, everyone. Good morning, first of all. Hoping everybody's in India. Like, if not, like, good afternoon for those of you who are in the eastern side of the world. And if anybody is joining from the US, late night, so good evening. So for those of you who don't know me yet, I'm pretty sure quite a few, I've met a lot of you. But those of you who don't know me yet, like I've been with UST for about 21 years now. I lead the APAC practice, Salesforce practice. I'm currently based in Malaysia. Okay, and I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for about 13 years now. And I'm fortunate enough to be nominated as a marketing champion last year, and as a Salesforce MEP this year. Okay. So I really want to thank the New Delhi, the developer user group here, Sushant and Harshit, and some of the great volunteers that we have for all the initiatives that you do, especially the Impact Salesforce Saturday program, and for inviting me to share some of my input with all of you. And I hope you all had like good takeaways, like if you attended last week's session with Abhinav and you. Hopefully, you had some good learnings from that. So I just hope to like give you some extra inputs from today, to add on to what they had from last week. Okay. Agenda is pretty small. I don't want to keep it too long, but I do have certain points that I would like to cover, and after which I can pass it on to like some of our community members who recently got selected with job offers, and if they wanted to share some of their feedback, and then we can have an interactive session where you can have questions, like we can try and answer, like probably like you can listen to some of them as well. Okay. So without much ado, let me go into the first area. Like I'm assuming most of you are into this session because you are either looking to make a shift into Salesforce either as a fresher or from another domain, right? And there could be multiple reasons why you're choosing Salesforce. Definitely, you would see that it's one of the leading CRM platforms. Okay, and it's been like that for a while now, but it has become much more than that over the last few years. Like what used to be just sales and service cloud or service related features a while back, it is now diversified into a lot of different domains and markets. Okay, especially with a lot of acquisitions that have happened over the years. So now, if you talk about it, we have marketing, commerce, analytics, integration, AI, IoT, various industry clouds like we've seen Velocity and all that, right? And you can even build custom applications on Salesforce. Like maybe nothing to do with this. If you just want to go ahead and just create a proper application that you want to use, you can definitely do that in Salesforce. Become very very versatile, right? Now, from a career perspective, a lot of customers have been using Salesforce, or they've bought Salesforce and they've been using it for a while, and there are more companies who are adopting to it because of the large ecosystem that it supports. There's always a demand for skilled Salesforce folks, especially those who can actually make custom changes with the platform features. Okay? And with the high demand, definitely you can always expect a higher pay for some of these niche skills, right? But please do keep in mind one thing that I always want to like let you guys know: getting into Salesforce is not an easy way to get rich quick. Okay, just because you see like there's a high salary demand, for this, the experienced folks, don't get into the notion that by learning Salesforce you can start reaping in money within a few months. Okay, it does take time and effort. It is hard work, but yes, in the long time, in the long run, definitely you will, based on the demand at that time, you will be able to reap the benefits. Okay. Now, the important thing is to like keep learning and always validating your skill set, so that you're never outdated. You have to keep up with the latest in the technology, and so that you will always be in demand. So, and for that you need to be aware of what is happening, what is the latest trends out there, what is the new releases that are coming, what are the companies and customers looking for. Okay, find out what is the market trend right now, so you can stay one step ahead of the game. Now, question that I get asked most often, so where and how do I start learning about Salesforce? I'm pretty sure many of you already know some of this, so I'll try to cover some of the areas that that I've put together. Some of these probably some of you probably not have heard some of these things. So let's see. Okay, there are multiple sources that you can go through. The first one, definitely, like all of you know, the Trailhead platform. It's one of the best free training that you can get, Along with that, like Salesforce is one of the very few software platforms that gives you free developer orgs with almost every feature that you can think of, like for you to learn and excel. I'm not saying like everything that Salesforce provides to a customer is available there, definitely, but majority of what you need to like support the platform you will get from it. Right? And most other platforms that you look at it, like if you compare some of the other CRM tools and similar packages, they have a trial period with limited features. Okay, which is why like the adoption has been very low. Like especially with the community, like if somebody wants to learn and practice and get experience, it is not that easy. Okay, so when you have a full version hands-on, and you can create as many orgs as you want, you can even create playgrounds from the trailhead, and with all the different badges modules that actually give you a good starting point. It's very very hard to beat. Like, it's one of the best out there, right? But trailhead alone is not enough. Like it's a good starting point, and I usually find that it's always good to get a proper structured orientation. Like what should I start with, what comes next, etc., right? So even though some of the trails and trail mixes will help you to some extent, I've seen a lot of good content from our community that's really useful. So there are a great number of YouTube channels and blogs that you can refer to for free. Okay, so I'm somebody like who actually looks for like some content that is definitely available like for free before I go and invest in money. Like, I'm pretty sure many of you are like freshers. You probably like economically you will always look for like, is there something that I can learn for free first before I start and go and buy a paid tutorial, right? Or get into a training program. There is definitely out there, so you should probably research, check with the community, like what are some of these good ones. I've listed only a few here. There are a lot more. So for instance, like the Apex hours and Salesforce developer YouTube channels are very good. Like you see a lot of links out there. SFDC Panther and Hulk also. There's a few more that that comes to mind, but if I start listing it, like it'll not be enough now. The one slide will not be enough. There's lots and lots more. If you look at the SFDC9 and Apex Academy, I believe they have some free offers going on right now. So you might want to go and check. Like, if there's sometimes like folks actually open out a new courses that that's available for free for a short time. So please do take advantage of such opportunities. Okay. Now, next on my list, which is not something that you may hear often, is actually working with a partner company. Okay, now the reason I say is it's one of the best places to learn and build your skills. Okay, and because most partners have multiple clients or domains that they support. Okay, so you get to work across different projects through your career, and you get to learn a lot of new features. So if you do get an opportunity to work with a partner company, I would say definitely go for it, right? And they have this great platform that Salesforce provides called Partner Learning Camp. Earlier it used to be Partner Navigator, but now they are supporting Partner Learning Camp, and you will get a lot of free training materials on like most of the domains that Salesforce is actually promoting, right? And they're like very specialized. You will not see it in Trailhead. It's not available for public use as well. Only partners have access to it, right? And partners also have like special training programs, beta exams, product ranger exams. There's demo orgs that you get, special licenses for like marketing, commerce, industry clouds, and all that. So if you are part of a good partner company, you should definitely leverage some of that to learn, so and advance your skills. And if you're looking to like join a company, like I would always say like if you get a choice, try for a time. Sometimes it's not easy, like so if you ever get a choice to like work in, at least when you're learning in the stage of your learning and you're looking for like more challenging projects, definitely look for some of these areas. Now, the Trailblazer community, like you all know, like you're here because of that as well. It's one of the biggest success factors of the Salesforce ecosystem, and that is our Ohana, right? We have a lot of great community groups, and this sessions like almost every day that you can attend because now we are virtual, right? And there's also like Salesforce sponsored event like the Journey to Salesforce, Trailhead Live. I don't know how many of you actually know that there is Trailhead Live sessions. If you actually go, they are even recorded, so you can actually go and listen to some of those old recorded sessions by category. You can find out like something that is on admin, on architecture, on Apex and developer, all that. It's very very useful because some of these experts are actually like talking about it, right? And the usual Dreamforce, TDX, and a lot of other events. So do like sign up for some of these events when you can, listen to it, understand like what is the latest trend, what are some of the common things that are being used right now, so that you can stay aware of where we are at. Okay, and then we even have mentorship programs, Trailblazer mentorship. I'm sure many of you probably tried that out already, and even through our New Delhi team as well. There is the Trailblazer. We have the mentorship program as well. So do try and utilize that as much as possible to work closely with the community, ask folks who have already gone through this journey, etc., and how they can actually help you in your next step. Okay. And last but not the least, definitely there are paid options. You'll find tutorials in Udemy and Pluralsight. These are two of the common ones. There are still others as well. So if you know, like some people, they have their own courses and that they host on their site, etc. So you can go and check and see, and most of these, we actually go by word of the mouth, and by ratings, we ask around and say, hey, which one did you use when you started learning, right? So even I have actually resorted to some of these paid options to go and learn in specific areas that that I was not strong enough. If I wanted to research some areas, I would have definitely resort to some of these great tutorials. Okay.
And so just want to add one thing. Plural
Yes, yes.
site is free for April. If
Yeah,
anybody of you saw the post of Gaurav sir,
correct,
so
correct.
you can definitely leverage these 20 days and you can learn lots of things in April.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up Sushant. No, I forgot about that. Yeah. So there is a bunch of great Apex Salesforce, admin Apex developer different courses on Salesforce for beginner to intermediate to a little bit advanced as well. So please take that opportunity if you haven't had a chance to go and check those out. 2 weeks is very good. 2 to 3 weeks is very good for you to go to some of those great courses and get a good understanding of it. Okay. Okay, so now that you've seen how some of these sources, that you can use to get started, let's look at how you would approach your learning strategy. Okay. So I've seen students actually take badges, trails, and super badges to increase the count and get ranger status. I'm not saying it's bad, but do it in an organized fashion. Okay, you can break down your learning into core areas that you want to get expertise in. You can start with admin, process automation, get into PBs and flows, Apex, Visualforce, Aura, LWC, etc. Right. So with each area, you jot down the content that you plan to go through. Okay, you don't have to rush through everything. Okay, and for each area, you can say, okay, for this particular module, I want to this particular area, I want to go through these set of trailhead badges, these set of videos, these set of blogs. These are some tutorials that I might want to refer to. So create your own study curriculum. Okay, so the important part is to focus on the core concepts, understand the basics very thoroughly. Okay, and always be curious. Okay, so what you should always ask is why is it this way in Salesforce? Okay, are there other ways of doing this? Which is the best way to do this? Okay, you might even like to end up googling certain googling to find out answers for your questions, right? And find additional content, because it might not be very evident. It might not be there directly in Trailhead. It might be in the documentation. So that is and you probably sometimes even end up doing trial and error in your dev work. Okay, this type of probing will actually help you set a good foundation, even when you and definitely will help you when you attend interviews as well. Okay, and another point that you have to keep in mind is when you get into actual work with customers or even during interviews, you'll be presented with scenarios. Don't expect people will come to you with direct instructions. Okay, you do this, do that. There may be, but that rare cases. But really, when you actually go into the proper work stream and all that, people will just give you a story or a requirement. It's a scenario, so you have to go figure out what to do with it, right? So the sooner you practice solving use cases, scenarios, the better chance you will be at succeeding in your interviews and work. And with Salesforce, there's a lot of new features that have been released over the years. So there's almost always more than one way in how you can solve a requirement. Okay? So you have to get into the practice of identifying alternate solution paths. What are the pros and cons of using each of these? What are the best practices that I need to take into account? Okay, and especially when you're young, when you're starting your career with Salesforce, and the team that you may end up working with, they might be experienced folks. So it's not that all of you will be working in a fresh team, right? So when you work with senior folks, they will really appreciate and respect you more. If you are able to think through and analyze the requirements, when you get given a requirement, and if you are able to do your due diligence, and present with multiple options, you can definitely go to them for guidance and ask for help, rather than telling them, hey, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do, please spoon feed me. Okay? So they will really really appreciate if you do that your own, you get used to working in that style. Okay? And for folks who are actually moving from another domain into or other programming areas, sometimes it may be difficult to get adjusted to the way how you solution in Salesforce, right? So be open minded. I'm not saying it's always like that, but it depends, like, from which area you come in, and see how you can actually use some of what you have learned in the past to your advantage. For example, I've met people who have actually had background in, the UI side, like, they've done HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So for them, my advice would be like, start understanding the platform a little bit, very basics of like, what Salesforce is, maybe a little bit of admin and a little bit of low code, just to have an idea. And then I say go directly into LWC. Don't even start Apex. Okay, so you will actually feel right at home because you'll be able to grasp concepts very quickly, and then you'll be able to start building your own lightning component very fast, and that brings you a lot of joy. Man, I've started studying new stuff in Salesforce. I'm even able to actually develop applications, so you feel very happy that that you are progressing well. And then as you go forward, start exploring, work backwards. How can I integrate that with Apex? How does Apex work? Okay, then start learning a little bit of Apex. Then see how does Aura come into the picture. Like, it was a previous version of Lightning Components. How can I migrate from Aura into LWC? Those kind of things. Then you can look at how Visual Force is. So it doesn't always have to be the traditional route, like, that you have to learn first Apex, then Visual Force, then Aura, LWC. No, see what makes sense most for you and what are you comfortable in. Like, then go from there. Okay? And as you go through this learning journey, uh, there have been many folks who have taken this path before you. So please do reach out to them in the community. Find the peers in the community who have had a similar background as yourself and have taken the Salesforce route. Learn from some of their challenges and see what worked for them. Okay? One main thing that I want to tell you is be careful not to fall for peer pressure. Okay, just because you see a lot of people around you like flashing 200 badges, 10 super badges, 2 3 certifications, that doesn't mean that you are not good enough. Okay, end of the day, if you put a super badge on your profile, then it actually means that you have understood the concepts very well. Okay, so when you go for an interview, you will get asked like on those areas that you claim that you learned. So simply do not put like badges and modules for the sake of ramping up the numbers. Like, make an honest effort in learning like each module properly. Okay. See, no one will think less of you if you are not a ranger or if you don't have X number of certifications. The most important matter what matters is how much do you know and how well do you know it. Okay. So please keep that in mind. Now you may be thinking like, okay, if I go for an interview, then I shouldn't highlight that I know much in Salesforce, right? Then I won't get asked much questions. There is the other side of it as well. So let's say there are few positions open and there are a number of candidates. So if there is a few candidates who are able to answer well in Salesforce, then they get a better chance of getting selected. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is there is no easy way out. There is no cheat codes like how you have in games and all that. You really have to work hard, and you have to do the hands-on, and take the time to understand each area. If you want to have a stand up getting through. Okay, then I'll go through a little bit of the Salesforce career roles and paths. Many of you are familiar with the technical stream, okay, and that has a lot of demand, especially in the Indian market. But there's also the non-technical set of roles as well. Okay, so this is not exactly like how you would find it in the Salesforce. But maybe there might be some similarities over there. But I put it this based on like what I have found, what most companies actually look for, from a role perspective. Okay, so even though the non-technical areas are relevant, it's lesser in demand when compared to the technical ones, but that doesn't mean you will not get a chance to work on it, right? Now, one of the least focused areas is that second row there, okay, which I believe it's one of the most important roles, but they get neglected. Okay, so low code specialists, that's how I like to call it, are actually different from admin. Okay, and we tend to mix these up a lot. Okay, so administrators actually are responsible for the overall org health, maintenance, operations, and depending upon which company you work for and the team structure that they have, they may or may not help with the actual feature development. Okay, low code specialists, on the other hand, are people who have expertise in solutioning using low code platform, meaning configuration, process automation, PV flows, everything, except for actually doing custom development, right? So they are very good at understanding how to solution them. So when you get a requirement, it's always essential to check if this solution can be done through a low code option, right? And then check if there is any issue with performance or limits, and does it really warrant a custom development solution. Okay? Now, till a few years back, we used to have Salesforce, a role in our teams called Salesforce System Analyst. I don't know how it is right now, but of late I've not seen it. We used to call them BSAs, like Business Systems Analyst or Systems Analyst. Okay, Now, the main role of these folks were to help break down the requirements, okay, analyze the design, and then come up with the high-level solution. In fact, the analyst was the one who actually gave the green signal if like a certain functionality should be done using custom development or like if there is a low-code option. Okay, so but after many of the teams have moved to agile, I've seen this particular role diminishing a lot. It actually was quashed together with the developer role, and slowly by slowly it ceased to exist. Nowadays, I only see that you have developers in the team, you have QA, then I see BAs, and BAs are treated more as like a proxy to product owners. So their only main thing that I see them doing is writing user requirement, user stories, and the acceptance criteria, right? So what once used to be they were the guardians of Salesforce solution design. It's no longer there. And I really wish we can bring that role into effect. And they would act as the first point of validating your solution and checking if you have thought of all different options. Right. So in large organization, when you have a lot of teams, it's not always easy for architects to sit and review each and every solution that is being developed. So having someone within the team who does this is very useful. So I'm not saying that all the teams don't do this today. Like you may have great teams with probably even the technical team doing this. You might have a technical lead or one or two people in your technical team who's actually reviewing this and seeing if we are actually doing the low code options first before we even consider a technical solution, going into custom development. But it's quite rare that I've seen that. So I really wish that we could always bring this role back. Okay. Now, the other non-technical role is definitely the QA. Probably most of you have already worked definitely with them, or you have seen that. We have both manual as well as automation testers. So you really need to have a good grasp of the admin low-code features, and how do you test with some of these. Uh, they may even go into some areas such as how do you develop test classes, how do you run those test classes, especially if you're doing automation. If you're coming into LWC, you need to know the Jest framework. How do you pair program with the new ways that we are actually working in agile, and in the way that we are actually looking at XP programming practices and all that. You would look at how do you pair with developers to build and automate test cases and all that. Okay, so understanding a little bit of that and DevOps and all is definitely good when you get into some of these roles. But it doesn't mean that if you get into one of these roles or tracks, you cannot move into another one. Let's say you start off as an admin role or a QA role, you can always move to an analyst role if there is such an opening, right? Or even a developer. But you have to take the effort to learn along the way. And just because I've shown the architect role here, please don't think that immediately after senior developer I become an architect. It's a gradual path. It is it takes years of experience and having multiple end-to-end implementations before you can actually get to a proper architect role. Okay. Okay, few more slides. I promise I'll not take it too long. So when you move from a non-Salesforce domain, from any other career path, please do assess, why are you making this move? Okay, is your current technology that you are using is less in demand? Okay, or you heard that Salesforce is, if you move to Salesforce, you can start making the big money, or I want to go on site because there's a lot of opportunities. There could be multiple reasons, but be very very sure, why are you making that move? Does it really make sense for me to make that move, or do what I have right now, will that actually be better than from me making this? Because you have to go and start from scratch when you get into Salesforce, right? So you have to envision where you will fit in, once you get into the Salesforce ecosystem. So even if you have a number of years under your belt, as far as Salesforce is concerned, you are a newbie, right? So expect to be treated accordingly when you enter the work stream. Meaning, like a 4-year Salesforce developer who's been in working in Salesforce for his entire 4 years, he will expect to know more than you. Even if you have 8 years in .NET Java and then only 6 months of Salesforce experience, right? And so if you're coming in and then you are trying to say okay, I want to become a team lead or an architect because the number of years of experience is higher, then you need to work extra hard, because you need to earn the respect of the team, your clients. It's not an easy journey, but it's not impossible. So you can definitely, what you need to do is leverage your strengths. So if you have worked on, like I said earlier, it was on UI skills, you can look at new areas that you can learn into, like LWC and all that, and then go from there, right? If you have worked on integrations and you're very strong in APIs and middleware tools, you can see how can you do integration with the Salesforce platform. I'm pretty sure you can bring in a lot of best practices from what you already have learned before. Right? So do reach out to folks that you have worked with in a similar background. and experience, and then they will definitely be able to share their journeys, the challenges that they've had. So do take note of that. Okay. Yeah, the last slide that I actually wanted to share before I wrap up was on the interviews. Like, I'm pretty sure quite a number of you this is what you're interested in. um, uh, you probably would be asking what do I need to do to get through interviews? Okay, so I'll use a sports analogy here. So many of you are familiar with how state and national teams go select players to represent their teams, right? They will send scouts. I don't know if you know that, but there are few people that they actually nominate to go and check where are these some of these key people that they want to recruit for the state or the national teams. But how do these scouts know where to go and look for? Okay, there are thousands of schools, universities. They can practically cover each and every one, right? So mainly it is through word of the mouth, or the player is actually in the news because of some some record that they broke, or they helped their team win some against odds and all that. So somehow the news carried over okay, there is this player that you need to go and check out. Okay, so they will actually go check out these people and then see if they have that something special that stands out from the rest of the crowd. Okay, so now what do you think these players to get selected state or national team, what do you think they have to do? It's not something that they can achieve overnight or in a few days, right? It takes months and years of practice. Okay, and it's not it's not enough that you just do things like just everyone else. Uh, the only way you can get noticed is if you stand out. Okay? So marketing yourself is a very key aspect to achieving your next job. Okay, there's a lot of preparation you need to do to build your expertise, that is definitely there, but it's also equally important in how you present that skills. Okay, so in cricketing terms, because I like cricket, some of you probably know cricket very well as well. So you may be the best batsman in your team. Okay, but on the day that the scout is actually looking for that key player, you end up getting on a duck out on a duck. Okay, so don't get your hopes high that you will get selected. So that's what I'm saying. It depends. It doesn't just say that yeah, I'm very good in my skills, I've learned all these things, but on the day of the interview, if you're not able to present properly, or if if you're not able to communicate very well, then you lose that chance. Okay, but don't get disheartened. There will definitely be a chance. You can work on it and you can come up, right? So prepare yourself. Okay, you never know when the next opportunity will be there. Don't rush to start preparing only when you hear about an opportunity. Keep always building on your professional portfolio. Okay, that's something we will be very happy to see things that you have achieved as part of your Salesforce learning. So usually when we interview freshers, we do not expect them to know much about Salesforce. Okay, probably just the basics, and rest of the questions will be more on programming aptitude, subjects that they have learned in college, the final year project, etc. Right? So imagine we interview about 200, 300 candidates like this, all applying for the same job, and if more or less all answer the same way, there are less chances of some of you getting it. But let me tell you, if I had a candidate that comes and tells me that he has done hands-on on practice on Apex and triggers, or maybe LWC, or whatever some specific area that you are very strong in, and then you are able to answer questions based on the same. So we would definitely select that person, or even somebody who's actually showcased their portfolio by telling us hey, sir, this is something that I have built using my Salesforce DevOps. So these are some of the applications that I built. These are the features that I've used. Okay, and this is why I use them. This is the best practice. So we see that this person has taken the initiative. They understand the foundations very well. Okay, and then that person will stand a much higher chance of being selected than the others. So it's all up to you on how you want to market yourself. Okay, there are different ways to do it. Find what is your best way that suits you, and on the day, how can you impress the interviewers? That is the question. Okay, now if you're not good in coding, that doesn't mean that you don't have a chance. So I agree, some of the interviewers are mostly looking for developers, but you still have a chance, if you're able to convince you're good in admin areas or low code areas, and explain how you can actually help solution, using flows, process builders. Show some things that you have done, if you have actually presented some things in the community. Okay, so when you're active in the community, like I said, there are scouts out there who are actually monitoring and looking at, okay, yeah, this person is good, he's written a good blog on this one, or he's given a session on this one, so he really understands that. Okay, so that is how we many companies, people from there, when they attend some of your sessions or they come across your blog, they actually say, hey, this person is very good, why don't we try to hire him, right? So that it's like very analogous to like how that scouts are coming and looking at people. So do not think like by that if you sit silently, that you will only through interviews you can actually get into a company. Even by contributing to the community, by taking a few session or a blog, doing a video, sharing some materials, you can get visibility amongst the community, and definitely people who are hiring. So please do show that intent, that you are trying, what is your best way to market yourself. And end of the day, be honest. Okay, so interviewers can definitely make out if you are being dishonest. Prepare well, on your basics and your foundations and all that, and explain whatever you can to the best of your ability. Okay, do not try to fake an answer. So if you don't know, you don't know, right? Be brave enough to admit it, and it's okay to say, so I'm not sure, but I think it could be this. You can make a guess, but don't say okay, I'm very sure this is it. And if you end up wrong, that might hurt you, right? And last but not the least, this is very very important. Your attitude is very important, as important as your attitude, as your aptitude as well. Okay, speak very clearly. Okay, do not mumble. You have to make a good eye contact with the camera, and have a confident body language. You can practice in front of your mirror or your webcam. Record yourself. See how you sound when you come across. When you talk on the camera. Sometimes you may not be aware. The way that you might come across, it might not be that great. So practice always makes it better. See some things that you how you want to improve, how you actually speak, etc. Okay. Okay, so with that, I will leave you with this closing quotes. So do not feel low or disappointed if you have not been able to get through yet. Find where the improvement areas are for you from your past interviews. Focus on improving them. Each interview, treat it as a learning opportunity, right? Build on your strengths. It's just a matter of time before you will be able to write your own success story. Okay. So with that, thank you for listening patiently. I will now, open it out for questions and feedback from some of our community members that we have here. Sushant, do you want to take it?
Yes, sure, sir. Let me unmute everyone so that they can ask their doubts.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going through the chat. So prospect for Salesforce support jobs in the market. I had one question from Amit. So it depends, Amit, from company to company. There are definitely companies that actually cater to support. Especially Salesforce itself is actually does look at a lot for support engineers on their side. So if you do have some amount of experience that you can actually show, or if you have a good amount of hands-on experience that you can actually showcase during the interviews, you can definitely get through that as well. Yeah. Um, okay, I have a question from Mantra on the marketing cloud part. To look for an opportunity being a fresher, as in, okay, so this one is a little tougher one, Antara, because see, marketing cloud is not something that you can easily get uh, in terms of free devo, right? So it's mostly only if you're a partner or if you are a customer is where you get the hands-on on, right? But if you have already learned a bit about it and trained yourself, you can try attending sometimes I think nowadays marketing cloud is a lot in demand. So there are people who are actually looking for young interns, or people who have very less experience, who have learned a bit about the platform, or maybe they want to take interns and train them in as well. So do look out for such opportunities where you can get in, because there's not enough people who know marketing cloud right now in the market. So it's just a matter of time before the companies. I did see a few ads somewhere. I thought I saw that they're looking for interns for marketing cloud and all that, right? So do check that out. Sooner or later, you will see these coming up where companies are investing in getting people in and training them on marketing cloud, because they don't have enough people who are trained already. Okay.
We have one question from Amit Pandey as well.
Yeah, I'm just checking that. 13 years in application support testing. So, Amit, like I said, support, there is options. And there is more, people who have actually gone into developer areas as well. So you can actually check the various job openings that are available in the Indian market. I'm very sure, support, there is quite a lot of openings, but it depends on, which area you want to get into. If you're looking to move into more of a development role, then you will have to, show some additional hands-on skills that you have actually done. When they go through the interviews, they will probably ask you, on areas of, that, from a development standpoint, what have you done. So you, if you are able to, prove that, you are able to, support some of those, then definitely you should be able to get through. Okay. Unless and until you want to move to a different track, if it's a non-functional track that you want to move into, a consulting track and all that, that's a different one.
So the one question from Sneha: what courses which you will prefer for beginners in Salesforce in Pluralsight or Udemy?
So in Pluralsight, I've actually seen
You
a
need to
bunch of
check.
courses. Yeah. So maybe what I can do is, Sushant, maybe we can try those courses offline, and then when we can publish it on the page later on, some of these areas that you can actually look at, right?
Sure. Or Sneha, just an overview, you can visit SFDC 99, and over there, David Liu have some plural site courses mentioned on his website, so you can also check out that. And meanwhile, me and Shivu sir will figure out some courses for all of you, and we'll share to them.
Yeah, Apex Academy is actually free, this month. So that is by David Liu. So please go check that. Some of those videos are actually free on his website, but then some actually link back to Pluralsight. So you might want to, take advantage of that when it's free this month. Yeah.
And regarding Udemy, if you are looking to start with beginner, the admin one, then you can look for a course of Mike Wheeler for admin certification. That was really good. And also, if you want to learn about LWC, then there are two courses. One from Amit Singh, and second one is from Manish Chaudhary. Okay. And if you want to if you want to learn for visibility and sharing, then you can refer the one course which is by Walid Alhor. So I just don't know about these three or four courses, so you can check out one of them according to your need.
Sushant, if it's okay, can I add my points as well?
Yeah,
Or
sure.
Sure.
yeah, so actually, for the ones who are like freshers in this group, like, so the David Lu courses are very nice for from the Plural site, and the best thing is you can just download the Plural site in your mobile, and you can download the his courses as well. So even if after this April free weekend, once you download the courses, these courses will be available for you to access throughout the year. So that is the little bit trick which many people don't know. So that is there. And other than that, if anyone is planning to learn Apex from the right from the scratch, I would suggest there is a course by Manish Chaudhary, as Sushant also said. It's the complete Salesforce development course. And for LWC, the best one would be Salesforce Troop. It's done by Nikhil Karkara. So
Hmm.
that these are some of the best courses. If no one has like if someone has zero knowledge in coding, so these are the courses which will help you a lot for the development.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for sharing, Aman. That was very, very valuable. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Will you please share that names once again? Like we'll make a note of it.
Sure, definitely we will do in between the session. And but guys, if you have any questions, then you can unmute yourself and you can ask anything related to your job interviews or career guidance if you want to know. Because Shivu sir is one of the great mentors I have. Every day I ask my doubts to him. So what to do, how to do that. So this is your golden chance for you guys as well. Please ask your doubts.
So I see a question from Abhishek on this. So Abhishek, like now, if you are final year student, you are wanting to learn Salesforce and developer, yeah. If you're having a good comfort level in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, like I said earlier, start exploring LWC. Okay, because see, I had that background earlier. Like I was good in like web programming, like from my earlier days, but like not very proficient in terms of Apex and like some like how some of you guys are, like some of these experts that we have here. But for me, like moving into LWC was much more easier than learning Apex. Okay, because like it was directly into JavaScript. You can easily understand how to like formulate your HTML10, and it's like a standalone thing. Like there, you start creating components directly. Like once you start learning the basics part of it, and you'll feel very happy. Like once you start getting into that, and then slowly you can work your way backwards into like Apex, Aura, and all that. Okay, and there is like Aman was saying, there are a few great courses out there. I would suggest like taking one or two of those Udemy courses. Definitely, Amit Singh's was the first one that I took, and then Nikhil actually brought his one out as well. That is also very very good. So it even goes into details of like some of the basics of JavaScript that you need to know for like doing LWC. So it's very very detailed. And the good thing about these is like when you should try your own hands-on exercises when you do each module. Like I've mentored a few folks, like, and I've even taken internal boot camps for my teams as well. So I told them like the moment you start studying like each concept area, figure out a small exercise of your own. Like how would you apply that to a scenario within CRM? Like if you want to have account contacts, opportunities, how do you apply that there? Okay, so that will actually give you a good idea of like whatever you have learned, are you able to apply that in a proper project scenario? Uh, Marketing cloud consultant in a registered partner setup. I didn't quite understand that, Puneet. Can you clarify a little bit on what is it that you're looking for? Puneet, are they able to unmute? Uh,
Yeah, let me unmute Puneet.
ah,
Okay.
Yeah, hi. Sorry. Just ignore my name. It's actually Ruchi over here.
oh,
Uh,
sorry. Okay. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, I recently joined a professional partner firm and we're working towards a registered partner profile. But I'm unclear as to what are the role expectations from a marketing cloud consultant. So if you could just throw in some light.
So when you say expectations, it's expectation from the company or from like
So
basically
from
what they're.
from the profile point of view, because it's brand new for the firm as well as an interaction with the sales force is also brand new. So
Okay, okay. Yeah, so marketing cloud consultants are like slightly on the higher level like experience category in marketing cloud, right? The beginning stages would be like you will get into specialist areas, or like your developers like who get into creating UI content and all that, right? Consultants, architects, and all that like are like people who have a few years of experience already, and then their primary expertise would be to like work closely with customers and identifying like how do you actually set up implementations, or what are the different design and strategies that they need to go to in terms of marketing. Okay, so it's a slightly more advanced level than what you would actually see from somebody who's actually starting out their journey with marketing, or maybe one or 2 years into marketing. So consultants are slightly more experienced.
okay, okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
That answers a
And
lot. Thank you.
yeah, and being a partner, like you can actually go if you're starting to set up the partner, or you can actually go and check with the partner documentation. You would get the option to like have your own partner org for marketing cloud.
Right. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So Shibu sir, I guess like we all have shared our thoughts, but the people who basically got benefited from this awesome community, like the peoples who got job recently, uh, from one of the initiatives here, like we also want them to share their experience and share their thoughts in front of us as well, so that the other peoples who are like looking for their jobs, they can also like got motivated, and also they can ask their doubts to them as well. So I would ask Like, or Shivu sir, you want to add something here as well?
No. That's what I was wanting, like, some of them to come forward and maybe share their inputs as well. Keep it interactive, guys. So this is your opportunity, like, to share your experience, good or bad, whatever it was, like what you went through. So you can help your brothers and sisters in this community here, right? So
Yeah, because guys, after April, we again get back to the technical sessions. We don't know when we are again back with this career guidance sessions, which is very, very, very important. Like, you should know what you have to do, what how to plan your career before just jump into the technical stuff, right? You should know what career path you can follow, and how to do, and what are the best way to achieve your dream job. Okay, so these kind of sessions really help, or really help you in setting your minds for your future. All right.
Hello,
Shashank.
Shivu sir.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, Priyanka, go
Uh,
ahead.
yeah, so any insights on the Einstein analytics for the beginners? Can you please guide me?
So for Einstein, Priyanka, like, there is this YouTube course that is available free, given by Salesforce. There's about 40 different videos that you can go through and learn fully about Einstein analytics. Like, it's now Tableau CRM. It's very, very detailed as well. Like, that you can go step by step. Like, each video will take you through one module each day, and you can go through, like, create your own playground org, like, and then practice it out. So that is something that we use, like, to study for our Einstein exam as well. So it is, I would definitely vouch, like, that is one of the best materials to actually, like, study if you want.
All right.
Hey, Sushant, this is Neha here.
Yeah, hi, Neha.
Morning, Shivu sir.
Hey, morning, Neha. Welcome.
I have a question. When I'm interacting with the folks in community, I would say there are a lot of people who would want to come up, and as you also mentioned, they would want to go with roles which are not absolutely technical. They might not be great at writing the code, but their understanding of requirement and understanding the platform is absolutely great. And one of the paths that you mentioned is business analyst for such folks. So could you help us understand what they should learn, how they should, or in what direction should they go in order to become a business analyst?
Sure. So I want to make a slight correction in that role. The reason I put it on the slide as analyst is because, see, sometimes we say business analyst, and it is totally taken as a proxy for a product owner, right? It's not a technical role at all. When I say techno-functional role, let me put it that way. So if that is something that people are looking at, that's very different, right? The role that I was actually looking for is more of a business systems analyst or a systems analyst, however you want to call it. Their role goes beyond, like, just looking at requirements. You really understand the Salesforce platform, and so when a requirement actually comes in, they would be able to break it down and do the high level design. Like, when a requirement comes in, they understand the platform good enough that they can say, yeah, this one is something that you can actually do through a validation route, or this one we can actually solve it through process builder or a flow, like, and then these are the advantages of doing it this way. If I have existing functionality that is there, can I add that, this additional flow to that? They will be able to grasp that quickly, like, with that, and it comes with experience. I'm not saying, like, somebody who's fresh will immediately get into that role, but it's a gradual path, like, which is why I put that in a little more slightly advanced level. So how do you get to that role is, like, you have to be very good in low code, like, and that it's not just about learning admin and then knowing, like, how Salesforce works. You really need to have in and out of, like, a hands-on experience in, like, designing solutions using low code. Okay, and these folks actually will be able to, like, validate, like, and go through all the different options and say, like, okay, if I get a requirement, can I do it without using code, meaning without any Apex or like LWC components or Lightning or any of that, right? They will explore all those options and they'll say, yeah, I'm not able to, like, get a proper solution. I may be able to do it a workaround. Performance wise, it might be better to go for a trigger in that particular case. Only in that particular case, if they give the green signal, does it go to the development team. That is what we used to do some years back, right? So if you do come across like, if you think like, that is quite beneficial to have in your team like that, then you can start like, getting people in your team trained in that way to focus specifically on low-code. Because frankly, I've not seen many development teams actually use that much. Uh, Today, anytime like, you get a requirement, the first thing that you will say, okay, how do I write a trigger? Okay, or how do I actually like, go and write Apex code for it? Or can I build an Aura component for it? That's it. Nobody even has the time and to even sit and verify like, can this be done using a regular configuration or a process automation workflow. Okay. So that is where like, we want to like, see how this goes to, and I believe Salesforce is also pushing for that. Like, they're wanting to slowly move into that area. A lot of things are now being like, moving into this automated framework kind of things, where they're trying to move away from like, putting a lot of dependency on code. You can, I'm not saying you shouldn't be, but that is your last resort.
Thanks.
Hey Shibu, Sesha here.
Hey Susha, welcome.
So I just want to enlighten me being as a BA of one of the Salesforce partner company called CloudBiz.
Mm.
So my career started with a BA role, more of techno functional, or maybe a little bit clinched towards the technical, because I come from the background of this technical knowledge of Salesforce, be it automation, be it code, or be it the platform. So that's how my journey started, being more of a techno BA, doing the admin stuff, doing the low code stuff. And later on, I came to understand the business. I came to understand the product which we are building. Now I am clinching towards this technical stuff, sorry, functional stuff. Now I'm completely towards this client facing, so I'm getting to know about what client requirement is, jotting down all the requirements, sharing it with my technical team. Hey, this is the requirement, can you build this lightning component for me? Hey, this is the requirement, can you build this flow for me? Even me being a technical guy, I'm doing my work. If it is in my hands, I will be completing it, and I will be sharing my business knowledge, what I got it from the client to my developers. So it is really a win-win situation for being this techno functional role. And on the other hand, I'm the person who will be doing this URS, FRS, all the validation documentation. So to be honest, I'm very much in a low way why this BA role is not enlightened as much as a developer, because BA roles plays a major role.
Yes.
BA is the driving force of any project after the lead. So I think we should have to enlighten this role and make our folks to move forward with this role call as
It's up to us, our community as well, Sisha. Like rightly,
yes.
like you said. See, like I said, like because I've been like if you ask Meera and Sudha and some of the people who have been with us for a long time, we have all seen that role in our careers. Okay, somewhere along the line that kind of got diminished. I don't know what many other companies, but some of the clients that I work with and all that, it actually went totally extinct. So now all I see is like developers and QAs. If I see a BA, they're more like you said, like doing a requirement story kind of role, all those kind of things. So that gatekeeping has gone. Like they were the primary people who would actually like assess a design and say like okay, and they will actually hold the developers accountable for what they do. See, when you work with multiple teams, large teams, like you might have one or two architects. It's not reasonable for an architect to come and look through each requirement and see what the developer is doing, or like maybe technical leads also have their work. It's not easy to do that, right? But then that is where like within each team, when you have this BA or a BSA or the systems analyst, their primary job is to like assess and say like okay, why did you do it this way? Why did you go with code? Why can't you do it through low code? Like they are the primary people who ask that. Just like how a QA comes and asks you like okay, this is not the way like it should be functioning for the business, right? So they are the additional gatekeepers for that. So yeah, very very important. And then hopefully like we can make a slow awareness in the community on the importance of this particular role, and see like how we can get companies to slowly give importance to that, I would say. And
That would be really helpful.
yeah, sure. And thanks for your input. Like that is very very valuable. Like I'm happy to see that at least you are in such a great role there. That goes to show like that how important that role is actually.
Yes.
Okay. And to Sohail's question, Sohail, great question on the BA versus a consultant as well. Like I said, the analyst role that I was talking about is more of a techno-functional role. They work very closely with the team. At some point in time, when you grow in that kind of role, you can foresee yourself in the consultant is it's more of a little more senior role where you actually work closely with customers. Okay, so they are more from a strategic perspective of understanding how the platform functions. The word from the word, this is the true meaning of a consultant. Okay, so different companies use this word very loosely. So sometimes some companies, wherever you see consultant, does not mean that it's a true consultant. What I understand from a consultant is somebody who actually advises the customer on on what solution they need to go for, or what is the strategy that they need to adopt, and help with the implementation. That is what I would look at as a consultant. So if you have a sales consultant, or that person is a primary SME on how the sales process works using Salesforce, right? They would be able to sit with customers and explain when they give a requirement, they'll be able to say what is the best way that you should be able to use Salesforce for their lead conversion process, or for a opportunity management, etc. Right? So that is the main thing. The other role that I was talking about is somebody who's already with the team, who actually once the requirement comes in, how do you work with the team on design and solution. They would definitely work with a little bit of business as well whenever needed, but their primary role is understanding how to break down requirements and look at the design part of it. Consultants are slightly one level higher, where your first and foremost focus is customers. That's my understanding. Like I said, that word has been used very loosely in the community, so depends on which company you go to. Okay. Any other questions, Steve? Yeah.
Yes, sir. I have a doubt.
Yeah.
So actually, my doubt is I've completed my 2 years in my company, and looking at the market scenarios, and there is a quite good boom in the market as compared to the salary hike and all. So just my doubt is a company is there, XYZ company is there, who is giving me more than 100% hike, and my company is giving me approximately 70 to 80% hike are they giving me. But one more thing I'm getting here is here they are giving me a training, and they are going to put in me a B2B commerce project, which is going to start from scratch. And now I'm a bit confused because I'm holding a good offer from 4 5 companies, but again here I'm going to get learned. So what shall I do in this? What shall I do in this scenario?
It's a very difficult question to answer, Aman, because at the end of
Yeah,
the day,
actually
yeah,
it's quite difficult for me to decide. That's why I thought
yeah.
the
So
best way to answer that.
end of the day, it's what is your priority, right? So everybody has different priorities at some stage in their life, right? If you are looking at okay, I'm looking to learn more, build my career on and things like that, and if you feel that your current company is able to give you that in terms of your learning, career growth and all that, and you get more challenging projects coming up, etc., then you can. So as long as whatever you said, the pay package also makes sense. If money is not your highest priority right now, then definitely that is one thing you can explore. But that doesn't mean that if you're getting another offer from another company, they don't have that option, so you can still explore. You can ask okay, what are the learning options that you have, what are the things. But that is an additional risk, because see, that is a new company that you do not know till you get there, right? The percentage of risk that you get with with your staying with your own company is you already know how things are, and you are sure what is coming up, right? So you have to make a choice there. At some point in time, people will make the jump, and they will go to next area of what they want to get into. So I would say weigh the pros and cons. If you're choosing if you see some of these other companies that are coming with, if they have a great learning opportunity, you can have another conversation with them. If you want to help decide, you can ask them okay, what is the learning path that you have for me? What can I get working for you for the next 1 year? Okay, or if they have a proper plan, things like that, if they are able to help explain that to you, great.
Hmm.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sure. And very valid question, Aman. I'm sure a lot of people actually look at that as well, because not every company will actually be able to help explain okay, what is it that how does your career grow when you come in. It's not just like, when you come in, we just throw projects at you and you just have to sit in one corner and do project work. Every company will have certain ways on how they focus on their employees and their teams, and what is it that they help you with in terms of your career growth. So it's good to ask those questions, very, very valid questions when you go for an interview, to ask what is it that companies actually will offer you. So this is something that I've told my team some time back as well, and long time back, when you used to go for an interview, one of the questions that would get asked, especially for salesperson, is why should we hire you, right? Today is the other way around. You guys are in so much demand that the developers will ask okay, why should I join your company? So it's the other way around right now, because Salesforce experienced folks are so much in demand. So end of the day, you have to see what actually which company aligns mostly with what is it that you are looking for, and then go for that.
Okay, fine, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Sushant, do you want some of these folks to go
Yeah,
ahead?
sure. Yeah, so guys, we have a very great news. So recently, five of our like Trailblazer community aspirants, like they got placed in USG Global. So congratulations to all of the five, Gautam, Bhanu, Meena, Harshit, Priyanka, and I guess we have three of them here in this session. So I would like these guys to please share their thoughts and how they have prepared themselves and how they cracked their interviews, and how this travel community sessions or all the initiatives run by different groups help them in achieving that. So I would like Harshit to start. Harshit, would you like to start first?
Sure, Sushant. Thank you so much, and thank you so much everyone for attending. First of all, this session. I won't add much onto the technical aspect, like what are the courses you can do and stuff, because I guess Sushant sir, Aman, and Shibu sir all have added those things. I would like to share few of my experiences, which helped me to grow as an individual as well in this community. Because if we talk about the learning perspective, then as mentioned by Sushant sir, Shibu sir, and other people as well, these are the courses and these are the path which you can follow. But what questions which I have faced or which I have heard from many people is that, okay, I have been an active part of the community, and I am reaching out people for the job opportunity and stuff, but I'm not getting reply. These are the common questions uh, which I have faced, whenever I network with different people, whether they are junior to me or my batchmates. So see, what I believed and what I feel is there is always a particular opportunity which is for you. It's about hitting the right thing at the right time. So it's not like that if four of your Salesforce interviews may go wrong or may not go up to your expectations. There might be there can be both the cases, like you were not able to perform well, or the interviewer was expecting much more from you. So don't uh, have that self doubt, okay, am I on the right place or am I not doing well or stuff. Just stick to the basics and always try to relearn from the interviews. To be honest, there were some interviews in which I was not able to answer because I'm not I haven't started yet till that time with my development stuff, and they were expecting things. So what I did, I just jotted down the stuff which they were asking me, and I just tried to find out the answers. I communicated with the mentors which I usually ask the questions to, like Aman Tiwari, who's there in this meeting, Sushant sir, and many other. So it's great to have contact, because the mentors or the people in which you believe that they can help you, they are just a call or a text away for you. So sometimes they might get late. Also, networking always helps you to build a good help resource, I will say, to be honest, because with the help of this community, I got to know folks like Shesha. He's also we can say a great inspiration for the batchmate of mine, as well as the juniors and seniors as well. The way he's grooming the community, he's grooming the Vijayawada group. So these stories help you to keep enlightening yourself and keep motivated. The stuff which you are learning is that you are always going to learn that, and brush up the skills as the new updates come in Salesforce. but these are the things which you can learn with the experiences. So sorry, I stressed a bit lot, I guess. So Sushant, so that's from my end.
No, that's a really valid points, Harshi. Thanks for bringing this to all of us. Gautam, would you like to go next?
Yeah, thank you, Sushant sir. So let me start with my introduction. Myself, Gautam Jaskar. I am a final year IT engineering student from AP Shah Institute of Technology, Thane, and I'm also working as a Salesforce trainee at UST. So talking about my journey, I started learning Salesforce somewhere in the first quarter of 2020, and from there, luckily my college started one initiative called AppSet Skills. Under that, there was one internship program, and I joined that internship program. It was for 1 month. In that period, I started learning from Trailhead for the whole month, and I completed one project as well. There I cleared my basic doubts about what is Salesforce, how to go ahead, and what all things. Then after that, I came to know that Salesforce certification is one thing that you must have to get a good job or something like that. So I started preparing for the admin certifications. And while preparing, I googled out some things like how to prepare for the admin certifications. And then I came to know that there is something called as Salesforce certification webinars. So it is a full day webinar where we get all the basic things that are required for admin certifications, the pathway for admin certifications, all these things. I came to know that. And then while doing that also, at that period I was little bit active on LinkedIn also. So and in that period, I came to know that there are some community events which are going virtual also. Then at that time I found that okay, these are some community events which are going on and I should join them. So I started joining the community events, and literally I would like to tell that these sessions helped me a lot in making interest in Salesforce learning, because as we know, the last year was pandemic situations and all the sessions were virtual only. So at least every week, at least 1 or 2 sessions were there. So these sessions helped me to get motivated and stay connected with my Salesforce learning. Okay, so after getting regular in community meetups and all these things, that I came to know that okay, my college, I am only joining the community sessions, not my college students, because at that time I was not able to see anyone from my college in the community events or this. And at that time I thought that okay, this is a good thing and students should take the benefit out of it. So at somewhere in the mid of 2020, I planned one session at my college. I hosted that session. I called one Om sir for that session, for giving a talk on introduction to Salesforce. So this way I help my college students as well to get to know about Salesforce community and Salesforce. Then after that, I started volunteering New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group, and I keep on volunteering things. In between this period, I completed one 4 month intern as Salesforce intern as well, with the help of community people itself. And after that, in the end of March 2021, I got a mail from Talent Central that we have a drive for UST, and along with the link of registration. So I registered there, and after that I got a call from Sushant sir explaining what it is, how we have to prepare, what all things we can do. So everything was literally helpful. Like Sushant sir guided me very well to how we can do this all things to clear the interview. And I uh, I also put my 100% for preparing for the interviews, and finally I cleared the interview, and now I am at UST as a Salesforce trainer. Thank you. So this was my journey.
Yeah, great. Great. Thanks for sharing your journey, Gautam. It was really inspirational. And now we have Priyanka. Priyanka, would
Uh,
you like to go
so
next?
yeah, Sushant. So hello everyone. I would like to introduce myself. This is Priyanka Chaudhary, and I'm one of the volunteer at New Delhi SFDC group, and I'm currently working with UST as a Salesforce trainee. Uh, so I'm having a total around 3 years of experience into the web development, and I started my Salesforce journey last year because due to the COVID issue, I lost my job, and after that, I started learning through the Trailhead. So uh, I would uh, I want I want to give some advice to those people who are from the different technologies and who want to do career into the Salesforce ecosystem. So I would suggest just brush up your OOP concept, uh, the basic concepts of Salesforce admin and the developer. Do some hands-on on the Trailhead and just keep your profile updated on the Naukri and the LinkedIn. Be active on the LinkedIn. I am the one of the active member on Twitter and LinkedIn. So I would suggest please update your LinkedIn and be active and just connect with HRs of different companies and just get referred from them and just give your best and uh, that's it. And I would like to thank Shibu sir and Sushant to give this opportunity for the Salesforce training profile. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks, Priyanka, for sharing your thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Sesha also shared some great videos that that we done for the Vijayawada session as well on some of the interview tips. Um, so I did attend a few of those, like they were like really awesome. So guys, please, if you would like to go through those, you can use that as well. And
Just one more thing.
yeah, go ahead, Vedam.
Yeah, sorry for interruption, sir. So just one more thing would suggest, like as Gautam said while he was preparing for this Salesforce, he was keen towards doing the certification. So that's the good thing. But sir, like nowadays people are more inclined towards certification just for the job point of view. So even in my company and other company, I've seen people holding 4 to 5 certifications, and when it comes to knowledge, they don't have knowledge. So yeah, certification is do important, but more important is your knowledge. Like if you have certification, the more number of certifications you have, the more number of the pressure will be on you, because you need to justify how you got the certification. And having 2 years experience and holding more than 3 certifications, at least like for 2 or 3 years experience, I think 2 or 3 certifications is more than enough. If you are holding more than that, you should be able to justify that. Otherwise, even company knows that nowadays, if you see Telegram and other groups, there are people who will say that we can give you dumps and then you can clear the certification.
True. I mean, yeah. Thanks.
Don't do it only for learning and then go for the certification. Having knowledge is more important than certificate. I felt, because I did this mistake when I was in my first year. I did certificate.
Is it my connection or Sushant?
Yeah. Aman, I we can't hear you now.
Okay, I guess Aman's point was like team, like I mentioned earlier, like it's not important for especially for freshers, that certifications is mandatory or important when we look for hiring.
Yeah.
I'm sure most companies are that way, so if that is a notion that you have seen, please do correct that, basically, like I said earlier, whatever how well do you know it? That is all what we are looking for, even if it means it is basics, that's okay. Like if you say no, I know the basics of how objects relations work, then you need to be able to explain that. When we give a scenario that is only relevant to that, you should be able to explain why would you choose that, and then how would you do it, etc. Right? So which is why I say whenever you learn a particular concept, make sure like when you go into depths of it, don't just read it and just leave it as is. Figure out various areas. Like if you are going to be an interviewer tomorrow, like what are the questions that you can ask from that area? That is how you will come up with questions. Okay, then you say, well, why does it do this way? Why can't I do it in a different way?
And Shibu sir, one also good news here, like in this like session, we have two new Salesforce MVPs. So we have Meera,
Yep.
Meera Nair. Hello, Meera ma'am.
Hey Sushant. Hi everyone.
Yeah, Meera, don't think like we forgot you.
No,
I'm
no.
I'm looking for a suitable time to connect with you in this session. So because we also want your thoughts on this particular topic, what we are doing right now.
Yeah, Meera will be able to give you more this thing because she works very closely with the actual teams on the
Yeah.
ground. So she will give you actual proper, like hands-on whatever she has seen from like how she's been in the ecosystem and she's seen like people grow with her. Like then later on new people come in, like how they've grown in the community. So
Yeah, first of all, congratulations to both of you for being a new Salesforce MVP this year. Congratulations. Really happy for both of you.
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think Shibu already covered whatever we wanted to discuss, but I think I have got only one point. I think there were so many questions related to consultant role, like, why it is not getting that much importance nowadays. So personally, even I have handled a consultant role in the past, but personally, I moved to developer role itself because I wanted to be a developer itself. I think the major change happened when we moved to Agile. Till that time, even for the clients that we were working, right, each of the project had each of the team had at least one BA. So can be a techno-functional, like Shibu mentioned, like they will be handling both business side and also they will be handling technical side up to a level. But when we move to Agile, right, what happened? Like a product owner and developer used to divide this role. So a developer is supposed to handle all the roles now. Like, the earlier we used to get a properly written business document with the requirements and specific requirement document also. When we, that was mainly for waterfall, but when we move to Agile, there is nothing like that. You will be, whatever you are getting is user stories, and there will be a product owner who will be directly working with the business to get the requirements in place. Then it is the responsibility of developers to come up with solution, implementation, even testing is handled by developers only. So I think that change, the number of consultant roles are getting reduced nowadays. That is just a thought from my side, what we have seen throughout this time.
Yep. Shivu sir, you want to add something?
No, that's it. Like I was just echoing Meera's thoughts as well earlier. So we've been on the same boat. We have seen how things have changed quite a lot. But I'm not saying everywhere it's like that. Like some companies still hold on to it. It's just some of the large companies sometimes they change. And then what happens is like where somewhere it slips through the cracks. So when new people come in, automatically the title comes in as a developer, right? So nobody tells that as part of the developer role, you still need to do that solutioning, that that analysis in the first part. Okay. That is where what was missing. Actually.
Yeah, sir. In some of the MNCs, like they have like project manager, and under project manager, there is set a team of BAs, and then BAs are directly aligned with the dev team. So like project manager and the scrum masters, they basically like divide the entire project in small stories and discuss with like the BAs, and then BAs will communicate that with the like developer team. And developer team basically not consist of only developers, they also have their testers in that team also. And then whatever the story is developed by developers, they are, first of all we have like unit testing with our testers, and then tester handed over that to the BAs, and then we have BA validations, and after that the UAT started, and then finally the production. So that this is the cadence what we follow in our entire cycle of a project. So I guess, yeah, different companies have their own like set of things. But yeah, that's a valid point, Meera ma'am.
No, but
Right, yeah.
the importance is like, that people should not ignore that, that low code is still important. Like, so I know, like, companies do say that, so it's up to us to, like, promote that as well. And that will only become relevant, like, if you really start showcasing that, that skill set. Like, if you do sessions, like, if you are able to, like, show in your portfolio that, how can you solve things using Flow. Right now, Flow is as powerful as, like, some of the Apex triggers and everything. That there's a lot of things you can do through Flow, and there's a lot of great articles and blogs that our community itself has been putting out, right? So if I ask, like, people who are coming in, like, and who are applying tomorrow, if you say, like, you are able to, like, build n number of solutions using Flows, and these are some of the things that I have done in my portfolio, then it's a very, very great way to market yourself, right? If you're looking for a job, so I'm very sure companies would be really appreciating about, okay, at least this person really knows the low code part. The remaining part later on, if he wants to get into development, maybe not, but maybe we have an opening where we can actually get a person in to help our team with this, right?
All right, so I guess now we are already 30 minutes ahead, and I know Shivu sir, you have like one surprise for all of us. So would you like to share that?
Sure, sure. So I don't know how many fresher folks are here on this call, but we are actually looking to take our next batch as well. I know we had our last batch where some of the folks that you just heard from earlier got placed in. So we want to, like, start off our next batch probably in a month or two from now. So we will be looking to, like, partner with the Talent Central team and with Sesha and all those different community leaders in India to, like, get referrals, like, for folks in the community, like, who want to, like, be given a chance to come in. Primarily, definitely there will be interviews and all that. I'm hoping, like, you use some of these tips to, like, prepare yourself. There is time, so, like, a few weeks from now, like, you can start seeing, like, interviews and all starting to come up. So please do, like, prepare well. And if you are, even if you have applied in the past, then, you want to take a second chance at it, that is okay. We are more than welcome to, like, try it out, because everybody needs to be given a chance, right? So we will definitely welcome, like, go for it, try and see, like, how you can actually perform. And then there's a number of positions that are open, so hopefully, like, maybe some of you will be lucky enough to, like, start getting into the Salesforce ecosystem with the. So I'll reach out to Sushant to give some of these details. So please stay in touch with Sushant, like, in Talent Central, update your profiles and all that, so that he can actually consolidate the data and pass it. Yes.
Yeah, and guys, maybe on Monday or Tuesday, you will get email notification regarding this, and like within this April, you may get 3 or 4 email notifications, maybe one notification every week regarding that. So do check out your email IDs, and we are sending this to these notifications to the profiles we already have on Talent Central, and for all the subscribers we have on. So if like you are not connected with us anyhow, try to please connect with us, or you can also personally reach out to me, Harshit, or any team member of New Delhi, and share your email details with us, so that we can so that you can't skip the while we are sending these notifications. Okay, and if you have any doubts related and one more update, guys, unfortunately Talent Central is down. Okay, because due to some because see it was not a funded one. It's basically we are running on our dev environments, and some security, due to some Salesforce security updates, we are facing some issues on our this site, the site on which we have built this Salesforce Talent Center. So we have some technical issues, and we are working on it. So it will take time, but we are coming up with new process, how you can share your details, and how you can update your details. So within 1 or 2 days, you will get a new way to update your profiles, and to create a new profiles over there. Okay, so you will get all the details within 1 or 2 days. Just stay connected with us, and do check out your emails every day. Yeah. All right, and yeah.
Sushant, just one question.
Sure.
Sorry, it's a bit technical question. Are you using public site for this Talent Center?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
So
know.
go ahead.
so there is one input field tag which you need to do to make the fields editable. So I mean, I think that's the one issue you are facing.
No, actually, I think Shivu sir and Mira ma'am also aware about that. On site, what like Salesforce do due to their security leaks, like they have stopped the DML operations. Like you can create the things, but you can't update. So they have like edit things. Okay. So what you have to do, either you have to use Salesforce APIs for that. So currently we are not using any this particular tool is not built on the API stuff. Okay. We are simply using the record edit form and something like that. Okay. Sagar may know more in detail about that because he's like basically managing this tool from the technical side. Okay. So these kind of challenges we already had a discussion and it will take time because we need some like guys who can like dedicate their time on that. Okay, but no issues guys, we have one workaround for that, and within 1 or 2 days we will share the details with you.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, so I think we are done with our today's session, and this was really like a very awesome session, and lots of practical things, not the fancy things. I think we have discussed very practical things, what usually our Salesforce aspirants like they like faces problems, what kind of problems they faced while they are learning in their learning phase, or they are planning to for their interview. So again, thank you so much Shivu sir and Meera ma'am to share your knowledge with all of us, and also Shisha to bring out your thoughts on the BAs, the importance of how BA roles are really important. So definitely it was really a good session today, and I appreciate all your support. And Shivu sir, and I think you are one of the best mentors we have in travel community. So guys, if any one of you have any doubts or any queries, you can reach out to Shivu sir, Meera ma'am, and also the other awesome community members in the group in travel community. Definitely, yeah. All right, Shivu sir, you want to add something or?
No, that's all I had. Yeah. Thank you very much, Sushant and team, for giving us this opportunity.
Mm.
And I'm looking forward to more and more getting folks into our Salesforce ecosystem. So you can like I said, write their own success story pretty soon.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thanks everyone.
Sushant sir, before we end, I want to add one thing. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. So like for the one, in case some of your friends or anyone else who just like tend to miss out the session, so please stay tuned. Like by Monday 8 p.m. the recording will be up on the YouTube channel of the New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group, because like these are the sessions which are very important for the people who are looking to start their career in Salesforce. So please don't mind, and the recordings will be there on the YouTube channel of New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group. And you can reach out there by the website of the New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group mentioned in the chat box. So from there you can stay tuned for the upcoming and the past sessions as well. Yeah, thank you so much, Sushant. So thank you.
All right, yeah. All right, guys. Thanks everyone for joining today's session. Have a great weekend ahead. Stay safe, stay healthy, and most important, stay connected. Thanks all.